South Stack Lighthouse off the coast of Anglesey, Wales, is believed to be haunted by the ghost of one of its keepers who died after a freak accident while trying to reach the building during a storm. The lighthouse itself stands on a small island, which is so close to the coast that it can be reached by a footbridge from the mainland. On the 25th of October 1853, one of the worst storms, known as the Royal Charter Storm, hit Britain, killing a total of 800 people across the country. The storm was named after one of 200 ships that were destroyed along the coastline, the Royal Charter. The ship was on its way from Australia and was approaching Liverpool when the storm hit, and it was smashed off the coast of Anglesey with a loss of 450 people. That night, while the tempest was raging, lighthouse keeper Henry Bowen was on duty at the South Stack Island. Another local keeper named Jack Jones decided to make his way to the island to help Bowen, even though he was off duty that night. But as he was making his way across the large iron bridge, Jack was struck and severely injured by a falling rock that had dislodged from the cliffs above. He did manage to push onto the lighthouse as the storm raged all around him, but his calls and frantic knocks on the front door were drowned out by the howling winds and the crashing waves outside. Henry Bowen, who wasn't expecting anyone from the island, had no idea he was there. It was only on the following morning that he discovered Jack just feet away from the lighthouse door, covered in blood from a head wound and barely conscious, but still alive. The alarm was raised and Jack was brought back to the mainland, but he died in the hospital just 3 weeks later. After the young man's passing, strange incidents began to occur at the lighthouse. A frantic rattling of the door as if someone was trying to gain entry, but no one was there. Knocking on the doors and even windows all around, and footsteps could be heard ascending and descending the spiral stairway of the old lighthouse. Even today, nearly 300 years later, the building is still haunted by the same phenomena, with people claiming to have heard the ghost and even seen the restless keeper standing by one of the windows of the old building, looking out. On one occasion, objects were even thrown at a camera crew during the making of a paranormal TV show there. Given the amount of ships that were smashed along the coastline during the Great Storm, we could wonder if the lighthouse is haunted by only one spirit, or one of many. In a strange twist to the story, Jack Jones's own father, John, also died at the lighthouse a few years earlier in 1828. The exact cause of his death is unknown. South Stack Lighthouse is still operational, and for any intrepid ghost hunters it's even open to the public for visits, depending of course on weather conditions, which haven't improved in the last 300 years. Paranormal activity is expected to be moderate to severe, as the lighthouse has recently been given a 5 ghost rating, the paranormal version of a 5-star rating. The Point of Ayr Lighthouse, also known as Tallacha Lighthouse, is situated off Tallacha Beach, Flintshire, North Wales. It's an unusual looking lighthouse in that it's stationed neither on a rock peak nor an outcrop, but stands out in the middle of the sandy waters of Tallacha Beach. At low tide, You can even walk to the structure along the stone-cut pathway that leads to the front door. Built in 1776 and abandoned in 1844, it's said to be haunted by a figure that stands on the balcony outside the lamp house or beside the lantern, wearing an old-fashioned worsted coat and hat. There has been, allegedly, numerous sightings of the forlorn figure as it silently looks out towards the sea and ocean beyond. The ghost is alleged to be that of the last lighthouse keeper to have served there, a man named Raymond, who died of a fever, possibly typhoid, while he was stationed there, but who still seems to be on duty at the structure, centuries after it was decommissioned. Mediums who visit the spot have described a feeling of sadness and loss, even heartbreak surrounding the building, and some even claim to have made contact with the restless spirit. Investigators have reported strange sounds and lights in the area around the lighthouse, while visitors claim to have witnessed other spectral figures in and around the old lighthouse building, one of which seems to be the ghost of a monk. Investigators have also encountered 4 other ghosts, but have hinted that there may be multiple spirits haunting the sands around the old building. Some people have complained of a feeling of unease on visiting the site, and many have even felt ill while they were there, a feeling that lifted only after they left the site. In 2010, a 7-foot metal sculpture called The Keeper was installed on the balcony of the lighthouse as a tribute to Raymond, the dutiful spirit who still, to this day, watches over the sands and the seas of North Wales. Despite its reputation, Ayr Lighthouse is popular with walkers out for the day. And because of its reputation, it's very popular with ghost hunters out for the night. Just 5 miles off Cardiff and Barry lies the small island of Flat Holm, also off the coast of Wales, and perched on the edge of the island is the Flat Holm Lighthouse. The island itself has just one resident, Simon Parker, the warden, who is responsible for the maintenance and monitoring of the island on behalf of Cardiff Council. Although he is joined by volunteers from the Flat Holm Society, he is the only permanent resident there. Or is he? Flat Holm Lighthouse, indeed the entire island, is believed to be host to numerous spirits from the past. Legend has it that the lighthouse is still haunted by the wife of the lighthouse keeper who took over his duties on the island after he passed away there, keeping the lantern lit for the safe passage of ships in the night and in bad weather. It was a harsh and demanding job. When boat crews from the mainland noticed the light had gone out, they raised the alarm and went to the island to investigate, where they discovered her lifeless body being scavenged by rats. In order to prevent the rats from getting at the body again, they hung it from the lighthouse while they went back to the mainland to organise a proper removal and burial. But when they returned, the body was gone. It's not known how she died in the lighthouse, or how her body had vanished, but it's believed she still haunts the island to this day. Witnesses, including island wardens, have reported seeing a ghostly apparition in a crimson dress running along the edge of the island before disappearing. But the tortured history of the island doesn't stop with that one tragedy. During the cholera epidemic, which began in 1883, the island was used as an isolation centre to prevent the disease from spreading. In 1886, a farm there was converted into a cholera hospital, and towards the end of the century a new hospital with 6 wards and a crematorium was built to function as a quarantine post for other infectious diseases. Needless to say, a lot of people died there, in isolation, far away from family and friends. It must have left an energy behind on the island, in the walls and the rocks and the gravel. Numerous ships throughout the centuries have gone down around the island, and there are even 50 sailors buried there from one shipwreck in 1817. It's hardly surprising that visitors and volunteers at the island have reported hearing disembodied footsteps sometimes, and a deep feeling of unease or of a presence in certain places on the island, a feeling of being watched. Flat Holm's lighthouse is still operational and became fully automated in 1988. It is now owned and maintained by Trinity House, the same body that maintains the Smalls Lighthouse, which I had covered in a previous episode. Good night.